Welcome to the Tribune Scouting Report. I'm Jennifer Fierro here at Mustang Stadium, home of the undefeated Marble Falls Mustangs. Marble Falls is 3-0 for the first time since the David Denny era, and that's because they were able to go into Bulldog Field and beat Boerne County nemesis, Boerne 35-21. Now, what does that exactly mean for the season? Well, we're going to ask head coach Cord Woerner about that, and also we're going to get his thoughts about the very important Week 4 opponent, Boerne Champion. Then we're going to bring in Mustang historian Billy Becker to get his thoughts on what the 2011 football team means to the community. All that and more on the Tribune Scouting Report coming right up.
Caring for you like family is not just our motto, it is our commitment to our patients. At Texas Hills Urgent Care Centers, our highly trained nurses, physicians, and staff know that your health and your family's health are important. With weekend and evening hours, Texas Hills Urgent Care Centers is here for all your family's health care needs, including treatment for illnesses, injuries, school and travel vaccinations, as well as many other services. Located on Highway 71 in Bee Cave and on Highway 281 in Marble Falls, convenient and professional medical care is just around the corner.
Welcome back. We want to thank you for joining us wherever and however you're able to. With me now is head coach Cord Woerner of the Mustangs. For the first time since the David Denny era in more than a decade, Marble Falls is now 3-0. Coach, congratulations. You beat Boerne, longtime nemesis. Certainly a lot of the standard for Boerne County football comes down to the Boerne Marble Falls game. Able to get it done, first time since '08. But here's the question I have for you in that 35-21 win. What impressed me so much about your team is that in years past, when we played Boerne to a 0-0 tie or a 7-7 tie, Boerne came out of the locker room, had a big play on a run back, and then they had a short field, went down and scored, which was the exact same thing that happened Friday night. But instead of us wiltering back and not responding, James Fry takes that kickoff, goes 72 yards, gives us a short field, and then Zed Warner hits Bobby Hall for a 13-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden it's a tied game. Do you feel like you had enough big plays this time to counter Bourne's big play?
Oh, yeah, I really do. I really do. You know, our kids, they're confident, for whatever reason. They're confident and believe that they can win. And learning how to win football games is maybe one of the hardest things to learn. I mean, it's a process of learning and understanding that you can do it, and then unfortunately, we've had to do that about 3 weeks in a row. We've been behind in the second half 3 weeks in a row and have had to find a way to get it done, and I'm real proud of them for that. I hope that's not a trend that continues. I hope we learn to step on the gas and win some just outright, but Bourne's got a really good football team. They're well coached. They do things well, and we knew that it was going to be a tight game. You know,
the only thing that I worried about at halftime for Marble was that I knew Boerne was going to come out with a big, strong play to start the second half. They always do. I just didn't know if we would respond because in years past we seemed to struggle to do that up until '08. Now, this Friday night was different. Why?
Well, I mean, I don't know so much. Our biggest deal going into this ball game is it's exciting, it's important, and I told you last week, the biggest key for us is to stay within ourselves and do our job. And the fact that our kids were able to remain focused and not get so wound up that we couldn't keep our poise and keep our function was big, and they did a good job of that. We had some key injuries early in the game, and some kids hopped in and did a good job, to overcome some of those things and still come away with a W. Just says a lot about them.
So now you turn your attention trying to go 4-0, playing a team in Boerne Champion that we faced twice. Last year in the regular season in Week 4, and it was a strange week. We had just come off that heartbreaking loss at home to Boerne for homecoming. We played them in a short week. It was a Thursday night game with the 7 o'clock kickoff as opposed to 7:30. This week, you have a routine set that's not breakable. You're going to play them at home 7:30 Friday night. How big is it, do you think, this week that there's simply that routine when you're trying to face a Charger?
Oh, it definitely. There were a lot of cards stacked against us last year, but we didn't respond like we needed to, and that's my fault. You know, we have to be able to do that in any situation because situations are going to come up. Is it going to help to be at home? Yes. Is it going to help to be in a routine? Absolutely. Is it going to help to be familiar with, you know, what they do? It is for the coaching staff. You know, our kids, our young kids played them last year, but, you know, most of these guys weren't involved in those other 2 games. So I think we're going to come out and get after them pretty good. They have a very solid football team. They do a good job, and they played some really tough opponents. But I think our old kids are going to come out and get after it.
Now, you thinking about Boerne Champion, I know that they had beaten us, eliminated us in the area round of the playoffs in a very close game. I think they jumped out to a 2-touchdown lead in the first quarter, and then we kind of played them even after that.
We tied it up, and we made a big mistake right before the half and let them gain some momentum back. That was kind of critical in what we did, you know, and we were pushing. We did a lot of things to push. We knew we were going to have to push the envelope to beat those guys. So that happens sometimes.
Your impressions of the Charger offense, what do you think?
Oh, they're solid. They do a good job. You know, they've lost some key people. I don't know that they haven't replaced them. Their old linemen are always big and strong kids. They've always got some good speed, and they're very disciplined, very methodical.
And then their defense?
Defense is probably their strength, I would think, right now. They big, strong kids. They run well. They just kind of mash you and shuck you and go to the football. They're very basic, but they're very good at what they do.
We've been able to control the trenches quite a bit the last 3 weeks. And I'm someone who believes that most games in football are won and lost in the trenches, and who can control the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like Boerne Champion's D-line and O-line will pose a better challenge for us than what you faced the last 3 weeks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, no question. They've, with the guys that they have, you know, their linemen are able to platoon completely. So yes, this will be one of the toughest lines that we've faced. Yeah.
Okay. How big is it to face Boerne Champion right before you open district play at Vista Ridge the following week?
Well, it's a double-edged sword. You know, we need a good dose of that. They run the same basic defense that Vista Ridge does. So I know that last year that helped us as a team and as a staff. We learned some lessons over at Boerne, and we were able to utilize those to help us in the Vista Ridge game. So, you know, this is our opponent's escalating, you know, up to the point where we're trying to get ready to play in a really tough district, and this will be good for us.
Okay. Coach, we look forward to seeing you Friday night at Mustang Stadium, 7:30 kickoff, and then we'll catch you after the ball game. And we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We want to welcome Billy Becker, the Mustang historian, now to give his thoughts on this big win over Boerne at Marble Falls. And Billy, have you ever seen a Boerne at Marble Falls game quite like this?
It was odd in that Marble Falls got out to a strong, fast lead, and then they got tied up, and then they fought their way back. Now that's the important thing for these guys. Despite all the improbables, despite all the fourth down situations, and despite the penalties, they still did the right thing to get themselves back and score and to win this game. I think that's an important thing, and I think it's a psychological thing that is good for this series.
Now, you, of course, correctly predicted last week that Marble would win 35-21 right down to the actual point totals for each team themselves. What made you so confident that Marble was going to be able to score 35 points?
That was really, quite frankly, an intuitive flash. I just sort of saw that score, and that's the way it was. But the Mustangs have had this capability for scoring points. It's just a matter of them doing it against Boerne. you know, and Boerne basically has had a jug on us where we get to a point and we just can't score. But in this particular instance, we found what we were looking for again, and we're able to make the connections, and we scored what I thought we could. I mean, they ran the ball extremely well, and that really opened things up.
All right, and we'll be back with some closing thoughts.
We are established. We are qualified. We are certified. We are knowledgeable. We are dependable. We are Ken's Heating and Air. Our people make the difference.
The Mustangs are welcoming in a Boerne Champion Chargers squad that's still trying to find its offensive identity. Whereas last year, the Chargers were more of a power running team that threw in order to get the defense off balance, this year's team is still trying to figure that out. But as much as Champion may be struggling on offense, look for the defense to come in with a big purpose, and that is to knock Zed Warner into making some key errors for the Mustangs from the quarterback position. So far, Zed has been able to avoid that, thanks to some great running from Taylor Cobble and some key catches by Bobby Hall and Clint Powell. If Zed can continue to do that, look for the Mustangs to simply have a field day against the Chargers on Friday night. But in my opinion, this game is going to come down to which defense forces more turnovers and which defense gives their offense a shorter field to score from. No matter what happens Friday night though, make sure to come back to the Tribune Scouting Report where we will give you all of the great details from the Champion game and then get you all ready for the District 25 4A opener when the Mustangs travel to Cedar Park Vista Ridge. Until then, I'm Jennifer Fierro. We'll catch you Friday night, Mustang Stadium, 7:30. See you then.